Assalamu alaikum students. Now we will discuss about the equals and the method and the copy constructor. As we know that we have discussed, the object name contains the address where the object is actually created in memory. So if we want to compare two objects for equality, that is that if two objects are same or not, or they are equal or not, we cannot use the equality operator. Why we cannot use the equality operator? Because when equality operator is used with reference variables, by reference variables I mean the objects, the memory addresses are compared. As you know that the content of the object, the name, object name is the address. So if you are using equality operator, it will obviously compare the content, which is the address. So address of two objects can never be same. Two objects are always created at two different locations. Also, the two objects, if you want to compare equality of two objects, you should compute if whether the two objects are same in terms of the data members. If all the data members of two objects are same, the objects are said to be equal. If all the data members, if any one of the data members differs, the objects are said to be not equal, right? So equality operator is not a good option for checking the equality of methods. So what is the replacement then? What we do is that we create a method by the name equals inside the class, and in this method we can compare two objects. So this method again requires two objects for computation. One object can be the calling object and the other object can be passed into this function. Let's say that I have a class stock and it has two data members, the name of the stock and the price for the stock, right? I create two objects of stock class in the runner, stock 1 and stock 2. Now I want to see if these two stocks are same or not. Can I do this by using this equality operator? I can do this, but this is a logical error. This is not a syntax error, it is a logical error because it is comparing the address of stock 1 and stock 2, which will never be the same. So instead of these statements, we need a function equals in the stock class that can compare two objects and return true and false. This can be the structure of the equals function. Boolean will be the return type. Please remember that this function will be written inside the stock class, right? It will receive a stock object and it will compare the data of the received object with the data of the calling object. Here you can see that I have written share price and symbol. These two are the data members of the stock class. Symbol is the first data member, share price is the second data member. So the calling object symbol is compared with the received object symbol, and the share price of the calling object is compared with the share price of the received object. If everything is same between two objects, then we return true, otherwise return false, right? So in order to check whether two objects are same or not, we do not use the equality operator in the runner. We create a method inside the class. This method receives an object. You all know how to create methods that receive objects. The two objects are compared by breaking them down again into constituent data members. Please remember that we cannot compare them directly even here because the object name does not contain any data. We have to break it down to the data members. So break them down into the data members and compare all data members. If all data members are same, the objects are equal, otherwise the objects are not equal. So from now on, whenever you create a class, any class in your OOP course, you need to create this equals function inside the class. It should be part of all the classes that you are creating. Another interesting use of object passing is the copying of objects. The goal here is to make one object copy of another. For example, you have created an object in the runner and you want to create another object which is exactly same as the previously created object. So obviously for this purpose you will copy one object to the other. There are two ways for copying objects. One is called the reference only copy. It is also called the shallow copy, and the other is called the deep copy. First I will discuss the reference only copy. In the reference only copy, what we do is that, for example, we create a object stock 1. And stock 1 will be created in memory, and this variable stock 1 will contain the address where this object is generated. In order to copy this object into a new object, I will write stock2 is equal to stock1. The problem here is that stock2 now is a pointer that is pointing to the same object that was previously created. This has not created a new object that has the same data as the previously created object. Please remember that the goal of object copying is that the data should be copied. Two objects should be created independently and their data should be same. This is the goal of object copying. If you are copying in this way, basically you are creating two pointers that are pointing to the same object. Here the problem of aliasing will occur, that if you are changing stock2.name, stock2.symbol, stock1 will also get modified, and if you are changing stock1.share price, stock2 will also get modified, because these two pointers are now pointing to the same object, right? So this is called a shallow copy, although this is not syntactically wrong, but obviously this is a logical error, as this is logically not correct, as both are now the handles to the same object. So the basic principle of copying object is that you create two different objects with same data. For this purpose, a very useful construct is the copy constructor. As you know that object creation is done by using the constructor. So in order to create an object stock2 that is same as stock1, you need to have a constructor that can facilitate this operation, because basically you want to create an object that is same as another object. So that's why this constructor is called the copy constructor. What is the structure of copy constructor? You write the structure of the constructor. Public is the specifier, access specifier, stock is the class name, and you pass another stock object into this constructor. Please remember, this is a constructor, it has no return type. You're passing another object into this constructor, and inside this constructor what you do is, first you are writing a check that the past object should not be null. If it is null, then you should exit. Otherwise you copy the data of this object into the data that is the data of the object that will be returned from this constructor, right? ये वो नया ऑब्जेक्ट का डेटा होगा जो कि ये कंस्ट्रक्टर रिटर्न कर रहा होगा, और ये वो ऑब्जेक्ट है जो कि आपने पास किया हुआ है. सो आप क्या करोगे, ऑब्जेक्ट 2 डॉट सिंबल इज इक्वल टू दिस डॉट सिंबल. दिस मीन्स द ऑब्जेक्ट दैट विल बी रिटर्न बाय दिस कंस्ट्रक्टर. ठीक, तो यहाँ पर देखो ऑब्जेक्ट भी नया बनेगा और डेटा भी सेम होगा. डेटा को सिंपली हमने कॉपिंग कमांड्स लगा दिए, राइट? This is called the copy constructor, and this is usually part of all the classes that you create. From now on जितनी भी classes आप अपनी ऊप में बनाएंगे उनमें आपने default और argument constructors के साथ साथ ये copy constructor भी include करना है. इसको कॉल कैसे करना है? stock company 1 लेट से हमारा ऑब्जेक्ट का नाम है, न्यू स्टॉक ये हमारा कंस्ट्रक्टर है, ये कोई और आर्ग्यूमेंट कंस्ट्रक्टर हमारी क्लास में. ठीक है, अब मुझे कंपनी 2 बनानी है विच इज़ सेम एज कंपनी 1, राइट? तो मैंने ये नहीं लिखना स्टॉक कंपनी 2 इज इक्वल टू कंपनी 1, बल्कि मैं लिखूंगी स्टॉक कंपनी 2 इज इक्वल टू न्यू स्टॉक, कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल करूंगी और उसमें कंपनी 1 को पास करूंगी. इफ़ यू हैव अ कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर इन द क्लास तो ये कॉल हो जाएगा और आपके पास यहाँ से नया ऑब्जेक्ट रिटर्न होगा जो कि कंपनी 2 के पास जाएगा, और इस ऑब्जेक्ट का डेटा XYZ और 9.62 होगा, लेकिन ये एलियसेस नहीं होंगे. कंपनी 1 अलग ऑपरेट करेगा, कंपनी 2 अलग ऑपरेट करेगा. So copy constructor helps you to copy object and create independent copies. They are not aliases. Okay, this ends our discussion on object passing. I hope कि object passing is clear. Object passing is very useful. You must understand कि किस मेथड में ऑब्जेक्ट पासिंग यूज़ करनी है, उन मेथड्स में जिसके अंदर आपको एक से ज़्यादा ऑब्जेक्ट्स की प्रेजेंस रिक्वायर्ड है. इसके अलावा इक्वल्स मेथड आपके हर क्लास का पार्ट होना चाहिए, उसको भी आप ऑब्जेक्ट पासिंग के थ्रू ही बनाएंगे. और कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर विच इज़ अ कंस्ट्रक्टर दैट क्रिएट्स कॉपी ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट, उसके लिए भी आप ऑब्जेक्ट पासिंग को यूज़ करेंगे. थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स.